So Chastity, in her late 20s, we're having a conversation, right? I'm paying attention. And what comes up is a conversation about how in 2017, she's not interested in having no more pen pals. And so I hadn't heard the word pen pal since I was in grade school. Like, what do you mean a pen pal? And so she says, well, nowadays the guys, and I want you guys to tell me if it's true, right? That the guys of nowadays, they want to date via text. So that's a cool thing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And it's all throughout the day. But there's no conversation and no talk about, let's go out on a date. Like ringing up the phone and saying, hey, are you free Friday or are you free Saturday? Let's go catch a movie. Let's go to dinner. So there's no talk about that. And she said, and that's what her experience is. And it sucks, she said. She said that now it sucks dating now. So for those of you who are out there dating, particularly the millennials, I kind of want that perspective. And whether you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s, whatever the age, is a person who texts you all day long without inviting you out for a date. Is that just more convenient? They got a busy life. They got a great, busy job. Maybe they got kids, right? Maybe that's their age group. And they can't really talk to you or they can't invite you out. Is that convenience or is it just being cheap as hell? And so when I asked her like what her thoughts were, and she said, no, I just think it's just lazy. And she said, I think sometimes it's about calling and saying, hey, well, not calling, texting and saying, hey, if we're texting all day, that's her pen pal version. And then it doesn't get to the phone. She doesn't get an invitation out necessarily. She gets, hey, want to come over and watch a movie. And I was just thinking like, that's some cheap ass shit. Like that's not a date. A date and somebody who's interested in you is, and I'm speaking as a woman, she being a woman, we're talking about the males doing the chivalry thing or just the dating thing or the courting thing and saying, hey, you want to go out? You want to catch a movie? You want to go to dinner? Hey, there's a new art exhibit or museum. I want to take you out. I want to spend some time with you. So what say you, the men? I want to know, guys, what is this thing? Or ladies, baddies out there. If you're in a dating round, did you find you get more pen pals as a single person, just wanting to text you up all freaking night and not asking you and then taking it to the next step? Like, show me the art of dating. Like, show me out of line. So this is what Chastity and I talked about. She's like, I just feel like the guys of today are cheap and they're lazy. And I said, okay, so if the guys are cheap and lazy, who are they able to get away with this with? They got to get away with it with someone. Like somebody is saying, yes, I'm going to hang out with you on the couch and watch Netflix. Somebody's got to be able to respond to the pen pal texting. And so what she did, which I thought was courageous, was she says, in the whole back and forth texting, she's like, you know what, 2017, I'm not doing the pen pal texting thing. And I thought that was pretty bold because she said, normally I would have never said that. But in 2017, I'm not being so nice and I'm going to speak my mind. Now, we know that there are, some kick-ass people professionally and they have, really demanding jobs and careers, right? So texting can be easy. If I'm on a conference call or if I'm in a meeting, I'm thinking about you, I text you. That's good to keep the connection, the communication. But when it comes to, if you're texting somebody for weeks, they're interested and you're texting them for weeks and you've never been out. They've never been to pick you up. You've never been in their car. You've never had a meal over a table. Nada, zilch. To me, that's a pen pal. That is not somebody that you want to it's not a serious contender. That's me. And if all I'm getting is your texting, I don't think that's a turn on for women, right? So women out there, whether you're married or single, dating, divorced, it doesn't matter. At some point, this man who has your number has reached out to you. He said your name. That's another thing. Oh my gosh. Like if you become like that pen pal texter And you women, ladies, baddies, accept the pen pal shit. When does he ever say your name? Because you can't hear him say your name in a text. Can you? You can't hear the soothingness, the voice. You can't hear all that in a text. So when we say yes and we allow that, then we're signing up for the BS as well. So you got to push back on it. Maybe don't respond to the text. That's the only way he's not going to be able to do it, right? If he doesn't have anybody to respond to, he's just sending a text into the cyber universe. Maybe you do like Chastity did, which is to say, I'm not having it in 2017. And so as she continues the story, like what happened? She's concerned. Her friends are like, you may not hear from him anymore because you just shut him down. Nah, that didn't happen. It wasn't so easy because the pushback was there. So guess what? He reached out after a day, after she said what she said, because he didn't respond right away. And he says, hey, beautiful, I've been busy working. I didn't have a chance to connect with you. Can't wait to see you. Bam! There you go. Now, had she still continued the texting, he'd have been pen pal texters forever. But because she pushed back, now I'm sure she's going to get a date out of it. I'm sure. I still think that there are men who they've fallen into that trap. And I think that women have also. I mean, I think that there are women out there, they really like the guy. They're happy that he's using some form of communication, but there's something missing. There's how do we, I don't see your gentlemanliness via text. And then it depends on what type of texter you are. You have some who use shorthand, and there's all sorts of shortcuts, and so there's not even like full sentences being communicated on the freaking text. So I think that if this is you as a woman and you fall into that trap of the pen pal texter, I think that you're going to end up in it forever until you do what Chastity did, which is, I'm not doing the pen pal thing in 2017. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it any longer. Or you get bold and say, listen, if we're going to talk, you got to call me. What happened to that? Like, just give me a call. Now it's like, okay, I'm going to text you. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear the rhythm of the beat in your voice. I want to hear the sincerity. I want to hear all of that. And I also want to see you in person. Isn't that the ultimate goal? And I'm sharing Chastity, my hairstylist, who shared her experience. And she then shared it with her girlfriends, one girlfriend in particular, I haven't met her, but she felt when Chastity pushed back and said, listen, I'm not doing this, that was rude. I didn't think it was rude. I thought it was bold, and I thought it was direct, and I thought it was necessary. And the concern was that he would run because he couldn't take her telling him that she wasn't doing that thing anymore. And that was a concern. But guess what? He came back. So, baddies, say what you got to say. If it's in your heart and you feel like it's not working for you anymore, say it. Because chances are when you speak your piece and you push back, that if he really likes you, if he really wants to get to know you, he'll step up his game. And I think someone out there said that. If a guy really likes you, if a man really likes you and he wants to get to know you, he will respect your turf. He will respect your wishes. But it's when we get so caught up in him or the art of dating or the art of somebody sending us a ding, ding, ding. When we get caught up in that, then we are no longer able to kind of remember what our standards are and what our values are. I love to text, so don't get me wrong. For a convenience standpoint, it works when you have multiple people you need to communicate with, multiple things you're doing. But when it comes to a man and a woman, pen pal texting is not dating. That's some bull. We do have to teach people how to treat us. So when we are okay with the text response, then we're saying that it's okay. When he says, hey, you've been texting forever, and then he says, hey, let's, want to come over and watch Netflix? Or, hey, do you have Netflix? You cool with me coming over? You got to be able to say, nah, that's not working. Let's meet at, or let's go out to. I think women have to just be a little bit more direct with it and not be afraid of losing him, because if he doesn't step up to that, then he's not worth it. I believe in the art of a man still asking out a woman. I think he has to establish that desire. I mean, you guys are hunters, right? You go after what you want. So if we're establishing the man is interested in a woman, then it is up to him to go after her, invite her out, request her time. And once you have established a dating routine and you're interested in one another, no, I don't think it's out of the norm for a woman to invite him out. The whole conversations on a text is crazy. Talking about dating as a text, and that's not dating. Texting is not dating. Just starting out, and there are two people trying to get to know each other. That pen pal shit doesn't work. So I'm with Chastity, who was the 29-year-old really trying to figure it out in terms of dating and men and having a relationship. I love the fact that she was courageous enough to say, not going to work, because I think that there are a lot of women out there where they lax. They become really lax, and they become, what's the word I'm looking for? Accepting of whatever his pattern is, and they never really interject their desires or patterns or wishes. So sometimes it doesn't always have to work, and it's okay if you figure out what works for your relationship. All I'm saying is that if you as a woman think that him texting you 50,000 times a day and you never go out and meet each other face to face, if you think that is dating, then you have picked up the wrong rule book for girls and women and baddies. And maybe I need to write a book that says, here's the rules for how to really, stand in a relationship and both of you bring value. Back in the day when there wasn't texting and there wasn't the cell phones, men just spent the money, or they figured out how to be creative with who they liked, who they were feeling out. So maybe you took one to breakfast.Maybe you took one out for a drink. Maybe you took one to coffee. Maybe you took one out to dinner. But there was still a face-to-face connection. I don't want to get to know anybody solely on a text. Man, woman, child, my children included. When you set the standards, if he's really interested in you, he will fall in line. And he wants to see you if he really isn't interested. I don't understand that. Like, who the frick wants to text all day long and I don't even get to see you and I'm interested in you? So either you're cheap or you're lazy, or somewhere along the line you have dated or you have met up with so many women who are okay with the pen pal texting. Crazy. I would think that the brothers out there who are really mature in their season and they know what to do it. Ladies, they know what to do. And I'm going to tell you this. This is what I say to a lot of my girlfriends who come with that excuse of, well, he didn't know. Well, he's kind of shy. Well, that's bullshit. When a man really wants to be with you and a man really is interested in you, he figures it out. He figures out the phone. He figures out the car. He figures out the funds. He figures that ish out. So baddies, don't fall into the he don't know. He doesn't have a clue. He can't. Men make time and they figure out the things that they want. And if it comes and when it comes to a woman, they figure it out real quick. So everybody, listen, happy Thursday. All right, go out and enjoy the weekend that's upcoming. And I will see you guys soon. Peace.